Hey everybody, welcome back to Scaling with SaaS. My name is Johnny Shipman, founder and CEO of Invincible Media, and obviously your host. And today we're in the trenches with Mark Worger of Martech3D. Mark, thank you very much for jumping on, my man. How's tricks?
Yeah, really good. Thanks for having me.
Man, fantastic. Cool. So look, if you can see the background there, that might be a little bit of a giveaway as to what Mark does. I'm not gonna give too much of an introduction into Martech. I'm gonna allow Mark to do that. So look, Mark, without further ado, tell us about yourself. Who is Mark Borger? And tell us about Martech. What's the story, man?
Yeah, sure. It's Mark Worger, by the way. Just as a quick intro there. I'm the founder and the CEO here at Martech3D. What we do is we help specifically B2B manufacturers market, showcase, and sell their products in a better way in the digital world. If I'm a marketeer for a manufacturer, I've got a couple of massive problems. The first one is even getting simple things like product images or animations of my products is incredibly difficult. It takes ages, it costs a fortune, there's loads of manual intervention, it gives me a real headache. The second thing is that if I've got a really big and complex product, then trying to demonstrate that or showcase that when I don't have the product there is almost impossible, certainly using those traditional tools like PowerPoint or even 2D websites. So what we do at Martech3D is to create a platform that enables us to create these fantastic high quality assets for products at the touch of a button, kind of 10 times faster, 10 times cheaper than what's the norm. And then also create these world-class interactive product demonstrations, all utilizing 3D technology.
Mark, so that sounds awesome. So where was the light bulb moment? How did you think this concept up?
We have quite a interesting story, if you like. 15 years ago, I used to run a medical device and SaaS company, another early stage company. And we used to go to events and exhibitions to sell our stuff and get in front of people all the time. And what I noticed then was that some people were doing nice backdrops and paper brochures. You had a few innovative people with TV screens, but that was really the limit of engagement and what people were doing to try and engage with their audience at these shows. So we already had an interactive product, and that was my background. So I thought, hold on, there's a massive gap here for being able to provide interactive hardware and interactive software all in one place. Major companies and enterprises could use at trade shows. So set up a company with my wife originally in 2013, so 12 years ago, £1,000 on a credit card, probably properly bootstrapped.
Proper bootstrap.
Yeah, and then grew it from there. Over a 7-year period, we became one of the most respected touchscreen rental and software companies in Europe. Not necessarily the biggest, but certainly considered to be one of the best. And all started from that £1,000 and our first iPad. We were flying through the business to a point of we're going to have our first £1 million turnover year. We're doing about 80K a month on a regular basis. And that was at the beginning of 2020. And then, of course, COVID happens. And
Yeah.
we lost every single contract we had in 1 week from hell in the middle of March. We were used to the phone ringing, throughout the day, but people ordering and booking screens, commissioning software, and then all of a sudden every phone call was pulling out of the contract. We can't pay for the work you've done. It was a really difficult period. But I think my mindset at the time was one of there is a path out of this that's my job to spot, probably more than one path that would not only get us out of that situation, but that would lead to something bigger and better than what we were already doing.
Great
Um,
mindset.
and I think because we were already constrained by having a physical service, that was already a difficult way to scale to something really big. So I already had this in the back of my mind. And actually, when I looked at it, what we were doing was helping companies market and sell their products at trade shows using software. So the obvious thing was, well, could we take this online and do this really effectively online, especially bearing in mind the market conditions at the time? I was on my laptop, rang with all 400 of our customers, rang another 100 prospects a day, kind of finding out what is it that you need in this environment. We were already doing stuff in 3D to visualize products and so on, and started picking up our first customers and building these sales and marketing experiences that they could use to really showcase their products. One thing kind of led to another. We were building some really amazing applications, but they cost a fortune and took ages. And that was where the real light bulb came, because it was, if we can build a platform that would make this much faster, 10 times faster, 10 times cheaper, and enable access for all sorts of different size companies, not just the biggest enterprises with the deepest pockets, then we could really be on something. So that's where, long story short, Martech3D came from.
Fantastic story. Really good. What a journey, man. I mean, to have it all taken away from you and then to just jump back into old school basics, get on the phone, get amongst your old clients or any existing clients at the time, and just go in with that pain point. Awesome. And of course, to productize it. So look, talk me through it, man. Who is your perfect ICP? Who do you work with the most, I guess? That, or maybe it's a vertical that have got a certain type of product or certain type of demo that you need to. Give us a bit more light on that, please.
So originally, our ICP was a mid to enterprise level manufacturer with a big product, usually a product range, and products that are complex. So things that are really difficult to explain or demonstrate just by having a picture on a website. That was
Right.
absolutely our ICP. That grew then into making sure that they had a mature marketing function, because what we realized, to be ready for these kind of solutions, you already have to have a mature marketing function. So that became a really key component of our ideal customer profile. Part of the journey and part of this challenge was we grew very quickly and very well targeting that audience and those kind of marketing director buying personas. But what we found is our solution was actually only relevant to 20% of the people we were talking to, because 80% weren't ready. We're talking emerging technology, advanced tech, really exciting stuff, but a lot of them just didn't have a product picture for their website, or they'd get some awful drawing about this new product they're releasing from engineering and told that's how you've now got to market your product. And so we realized actually that most of the prospects we were talking to, their biggest problem was these more basic assets and interactive assets. So just last year, we then created some new features in our platform to enable these types of prospects to be able to generate basic assets super, super fast. And then what's also key is then deploy them globally across their networks in seconds. And this is kind of 100 times faster than what they could do before. And that's changed our ICP. So now our ICP, we've kind of got a double edge to it. One is the existing enterprise, mature marketing functions, but the other is manufacturer, 1 or 2, 3 people in their team find it difficult to generate assets. They're now our sort of second ICP, if you like.
Cool. Yeah, I love the speed of delivery. So is it, I mean, if we talk about the application or the program, I mean, how easy is it? Can they drag and drop files in? Have you got some sort of AI engine that will sort of build this? Or, do they need to give you parameters and designs, and then you go in, make it within a certain framework? How does that work, man? If you can launch stuff that quick? Because I've always thought, from our background, we've done 3D walkarounds and we've done builds, but like I said, very manually intensive. We need to get so much information from the client, and then we build, and it's constantly proofing back and forth, back and forth. I mean, how can you do something so quick?
That's exactly where we started. So we almost had this original, middle of COVID agency style model. So the key thing was, how do you automate that? How do you speed that process up? So now within the platform, we're about halfway there to full automation. So right now, you can upload all your content, you can upload your models, and our platform does some really clever things to optimize those so that then the final application and the assets can be delivered on any device multi-channel. There's some clever things we've done around workflow, so that approval process can also happen really quickly. But we do have a hybrid offering. So we have our SaaS-based platform, what we call our Martech3D engine, that powers everything, that enables these things to be created really, really quickly. But then we also still have 3D design and development services that will enable us to build these customized apps, but much, much quicker than before. So as you were saying, you'll know that it might have taken a month, 3 months, 6 months, even a year sometimes to build an application. We're down to days. Our record is 3 days for a fully fledged, for example, 3D virtual showroom.
Cool. So, I mean, I can see it working within things like, real estate, property developments, the walkthroughs of all the real sort of swanky condos and apartments. Is that a big sector for you? Is the development and the real estate side, or is it more the robotics, the automation, automotive?
We made a really clear distinction when we were doing our initial testing. And the way we tested was through sales. We would try and sell our platform to different sectors. So it wasn't a big, we're going to go and spend a year doing a big market research project. Right. We realized quite fast that there are some very nice, simple tools out there to capture environments within the real estate market or the virtual tour environment. Wasn't going to be our ICP, wasn't going to be the sectors that we went for. Instead, we realized that what we can do with our platform in terms of functionality, photorealistic graphics, interactivity, advanced integration with CRM systems and product information management systems, that was where our niche could be. And it really works if you've got a big product range or complex products. So we've purposefully completely stayed out of the kind of oversaturized and commoditized real estate sector, for example, and instead of doing something where we can really add true value.
Sounds awesome, man. Cool. So look, would you say that this, I mean, what you've developed, would you say that this is a competitive market? Is it still, quite untapped maybe for what you're doing? I mean, the speed in which you can build stuff, I've never heard of that before. And I've seen that, like, beg your pardon, I've looked at things like, is it Matterport? I've seen those within the real estate business. But would you say that your sector is competitive at the moment? And if so, how are you standing out? I appreciate that you've got to get people in to get a demo, but how are you doing that?
So we have two types of competitors in terms of our landscape. One is tools like exactly you mentioned, Matterport. So they are those easy environment capture platforms that are pretty much impossible to compete with these days. Then you've got agencies. So where we started, so you've probably got thousands now. I think the last time we did a check, 2,000 agencies that can build tools, but it's going to be expensive. It's going to take a long time. Because it's emerging tech, 3D platforms and so on, we have very few direct competitors in terms of platforms in our space. So our challenges are less around competition, but more around those traditional challenges with emerging technology, adoption within a traditional industry, and those kind of challenges, rather than we're up against 10 other companies for a bid or a piece of work.
Got you. I mean, how do you get the messaging out there? Obviously, you've got a sales background. Let's talk about growth and acquisition. How do you diversify yourself? How do you get that message out there that, look, you're different and this is how we do it, and it's all half automated, that sort of stuff?
Because I'm from a bootstrap background, rather than just getting a load of money and throwing at a problem, kind of start it the other way, get customers first, get buy-in, prove traction, and then 50% now of our business comes directly from referrals or word of mouth. But that's only so scalable. If we want to scale at the rate we want to, we've got to find different ways that we can acquire customers. Trade shows are still a big part of the manufacturing way of working and marketing, so we can go to them and speak to them and get our product in front of people. Apart from that, we have a more traditional sales model. So we'd have outbound sales activity, outbound email activity. But where we're starting to see real growth come from is more account-based marketing, really targeted, valued content, us as experts in our field with an amazing array of really high-profile customers that have proven that this stuff works. It gives them really key return on investment. It's then articulating that to get more customers that way. But look, we're still early. We're kind of at that scale up stage. So that's the big next challenge really, is how do we take what we've got and get that much, much bigger than what we've been doing.
I can say everybody loves a case study, especially if it's addressing certain pain points and it's hyper targeted. So good on you, man. What have you tried which didn't work maybe? Because we got to keep this real. It could be something with the product, but more importantly, the growth phase.
I think there were, on the sales and marketing side, there were two things. One is that we had an initial very fast growth. So year one from launch, 4 times growth, if you like. And then we hit a snag. And the reason was because we did really well with these early adopter type organizations, the one that have innovation budget or are known for being innovators. That only lasts so long. Then you've got to move towards the mainstream. And our way of attacking that was with a traditional sales SaaS model of sales development representatives, junior SDRs doing 100 calls a day with great scripts and knowledge and trying to bring in meetings that way. And what we found was, although we were really successful in that operation of bringing people into meetings, people were coming in as curious, looky-loo type people who really wanted to see this really exciting new tech, but with pretty much zero intent. So we were really wasting a lot of time speaking to people, which of course is great for research and all that soft stuff, but ultimately doesn't deliver sales, which is what you need to grow. So we changed our model to instead try and generate more high intent incoming leads and have a more senior experienced salespeople who had come from the industry and come from marketing backgrounds, that the first conversation that someone has with us is with a serious, senior, knowledgeable person that can add value from the first conversation. And that's seen a massive shift in our conversion rate and then also our average deal size as well. But we really struggled with that middle phase where we had that spike in growth of the early innovators, but then the same tactics weren't working as we tried to go through our next growth stage.
Got you. Sounds good. So you have obviously got a serious team, more of the inbound, and like you're saying, you're using social platforms to add this really cool educational case study style value and intent to bring in the more serious players by sort of educating them. This is what we do. This is how we do it. This is how we took this company. This is what we achieved with them. Sounds great, man. Awesome. Love that. Yeah, we've all been there. I mean, bang, spike, plateau. Why didn't it work? Yep, you've got to change tactic, my man. So look, what are the biggest opportunities for Martech, within the industry and for 2025?
I think we've just sort of gotten we did that early traction and prove that we had something. The next stage for us was build on that, really prove that it can be a real business and grow. We've now hit that point. Our next part is about refining our offering, making sure we have product market fit, not just to be a profitable small to medium-sized business, but to actually scale and something we can deliver worldwide. So that's our big next challenge and focus this year. It's about scaling and refining the product as we go. We're targeting 3 times growth this year. We've got the right team in, so we're trying to do that in a really difficult, challenging market. Manufacturing confidence has plummeted since October. Marketing budgets have down 15% year on year since 2021. So it's a really difficult climate to do business in. So we've got a really North Star metric, of course, of recurring revenue, but we've got this kind of baseline metric of real profitability. And we're making sure that we don't have to only grow through taking in lots of money and sort of buying customers.
Okay, so with the pricing model, then I take it, I'm just shouting this out, but maybe there's some sort of onboarding sort of setup fee. Then there is which could include half of the sophisticated build if it's not a simple sort of automated job, that second package that you were talking about. And then there is a monthly reoccurring subscription then that will give them access to this 3D model, this virtual tour then, and they can just use that on various platforms to sort of attend all their trade shows, advertise on their website, use it within their social. And that's how it is built, I take it.
Yeah, that's fundamentally the model. It's an annual subscription, but yes. And then what we have is, because various manufacturers, depending on their size, will need other features. For example, I might have 60 subsidiaries, I might have 300 resellers. They all might need a version of my sales application that they can edit the content for, or they need in multiple languages, or they might need to produce versions for specific quotes or proposals or bids they're doing. So we have licenses, bolt-on licenses, if you like, that cover all those scenarios as well.
Sounds good, man. Sounds very customizable. That's really nice. Cool. And of course, it allows them to sort of, you've got all the tools here. You can sort of turn it into this cool sort of, shareable content. And it's just about getting them to use the platform as much as they can and leverage it constantly. And they have to win deals, right? Got you. Look, what advice would you give to any founder that's watching this now? You've done the bootstrap pre-COVID, kicking all doors down, and all of a sudden then COVID struck. You had a great mindset about you. I know you've come back with vengeance, and of course you now looking really good for this year. You've taken some funding in. What advice have you got?
I think the first piece of advice was to understand that everything takes longer than you think it will. You might get lucky. You might be those 1 in 1,000 that start a business, it rockets, it's a straight line growth, and you never look back. But it very rarely happens. So you have to be in it for the long.
There's always a plateau there somewhere, something just to bring you back down the ground again.
And sometimes it's in your control and you make mistakes, and sometimes it's completely out of your control and you never saw it coming. So accept that. Know that you're probably not going to make as much money as you would in a normal job, especially in the early years. So you've got to have it in your blood, if you like. You've got to really want it, no matter the success or no matter the failure. Second would be, don't be scared of that failure. Be honest with yourself, be honest about your product at every stage of growth as well. That's a continuous process. And one of the biggest is having the right people around you. So either as a co-founder, if you have one, or bringing the right early hires in, or if you do take investment, we've got a fantastic investor in Blackfinch Ventures who are really knowledgeable, full of people who have been there before and done it. And it adds so much value. It just means that you're learning from their mistakes rather than always making your own.
Sounds good, man. You've got that bigger arm around you then, as well as their capital, to really sort of kick on to the next level. I mean, what does the next level look like? What's the goal for 2025? We may have covered that previous, but is it a monetary goal? Is it a user headcount? I know that you've got 50% of the model automated. So there's obviously a tech goal there as well, but what do you guys want to achieve in 2025 and beyond?
So tech goal, we've got some really exciting features coming out around further automation, being able to create animations and render images at the touch of a button, even if you have no 3D knowledge. Major exciting features there. On our North Star metrics, we're trying to really push through to that 1 million annual recurring revenue barrier, which will then kind of allow us to scale up to another level. On people, it's actually just about consolidation. And we continue to use AI and other tools to be able to try and grow, but without always having to add headcount. So that kind of flexibility piece is really key as well.
Sounds good. So has obviously, great topic to talk about. I mean, how has the AI sort of shaped and developed the product itself? Do you use much of AI in this, or is it still a little bit so manual?
So internally, we transformed the way we do business in the last 2 years, where AI is our tool. I constantly hammering the team to say, there will be people that use AI and there will be people that lose their jobs to AI. We're really big on that in terms of the way we develop, in terms of the way we design, and right through to our manual processes. We've got some exciting stuff happening with the product. Generative AI, so being able to put in a text prompt and create a 3D model using AI and doing that to a high level will happen.
Fantastic.
Right now, it's there at a low level for gaming, for example, and it's not quite ready for people with real physical products because the quality is not there and the accuracy isn't there, but it is coming. And if we were to ignore that, then it would be foolish and we'd be out of business pretty soon. So looking at when and how we can incorporate that tech into the platform is the next big thing. The idea that you can go in, upload your photo or your CAD model, and rather than that being a manual process of making that then look photorealistic and ready for marketing, AI will assist that process. So there's some really exciting stuff happening with NVIDIA right now. It's changing so fast, obviously, with the DeepSeek open AI models as well. We're just learning, we've grabbed that and we're playing with it at the moment. So there's lots of stuff to keep you excited and interested, I think.
Great, man. I was going to say that sounds like a natural progression because, we play with prompts all day long and the skill is refining, building a better prompt. But yeah, text, visuals, mate, I would say that is a natural progression. That sounds really exciting. So look, nothing more from me today, Mark. I would say, where can people find out more about Martech3D and yourself? Where can they connect?
Yeah, sure. So obviously on our website, martech3d.com, it's in social, of course. And then we usually attend and speak at most of the major UK and European marketing conferences as well. So you'll find either me or one of my team speaking about emerging tech, 3D, metaverse, manufacturing, pretty much every month somewhere. So you can find those events that we're attending on our website as well.
When's the next event that you guys will be speaking at?
So the next big one is in April, Marketing Showcase. It's a kind of around the UK marketing showcase event that we do. And I think that one's up in Manchester, maybe Birmingham, maybe Liverpool, one of the three. But yeah, check it out on the website.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. Well, look, Mark, thank you very much for your time. And look, we wish you all the best with Martech3D. Sounds an amazing product. And we would be sure to put links in to your LinkedIn handle as well as the website within the description. And of course, guys, if you like what you see with Martech and obviously with Mark, reach out. It's a wonderful business and a great story. Thank you very much, Mark. Peace out, man. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.